What is going on, everybody out there? Welcome to Gamers with Gains. Hope you guys have been doing all right. So welcome to a brand new definitive discussion. This episode is going to be about Pokken Tournament. Now, if you guys haven't already seen most of the videos on the channel yet, I've been doing a lot of Pokken Tournament videos and been streaming a lot of Pokken Tournament ever since before the game came out. It's a game I think is pretty cool, but we're going to get really into the meat and really into the heart of the actual game. Talk about everything that encompasses it, everything that's important for people that love Pokken, that are just curious about Pokken. This is going to be the actual definitive discussion about the game you're going to want to show them. But with me, I have a special guest. I have PKSparxx. You guys have checked out some of his content over on YouTube. You probably follow him on Twitter. He's been doing a lot of Pokken Tournament recently. So, PK, what's going on, my dude?
Yo! What's up, Mr. Gamer? What's up, gamers? How y'all doing? Pokken Tournament, that jam, and praise be the Shandy.
Nice, praise be the Shandy. Yeah, you play a lot of Chandelure overall.
Yeah, Shandy's my main. Secondary is like Sceptile, and I want to pick up Garchomp as well because I don't like Chandelure Dittos.
So those are going to be like your three main that you're going to be going to tournaments and stuff with?
Yep.
Nice, nice. So we're going to get into talk about the competitive nature about Pokken Tournament in general, in just a little bit. So probably right now, guys, as you're listening to this audio, you're going to probably be seeing not only still images, but also some gameplay of just some random stuff I pulled, probably recorded here and there of Pokken Tournament as we talk about the game. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about Pokken Tournament as a package, as a game itself. Now, we both had Pokken Tournament before the game officially came out. We were doing reviews and stuff for our respective channels, our respective outlets and such. When you first got your hands on Pokken Tournament, what did you think of the game at first?
I thought that Machamp was an overpowered piece of garbage and that I wanted to return this game if that was possible. But I got it digital. No, legit. When I first got the game, I got it at the perfect time. Not to bring in another fighting game when I said this, but when I got this game, I just went 0-2 with a local Smash tournament. I was sitting in the back, about to go to shots fired. I'm like, yo, I don't even know why I'm going to this tournament at this point. So I'm sulking. I look at my phone. I'm like, yo, Pokken Tournament. We want you to try this out. Bruh, what? Excuse me? Hello? Yes, please. And I pretty much hopped on that. And it just took away everything. And I spent the entire, mind you, still in the Smash tournament, I went, like 1-2, so still terrible.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm lying. I went 2-2 because I got 2 buys and I got bodied by C3PO.
So you broke out even.
And 6W. No, I got 2 buys and I got bodied by C3PO and 6WX. So it was still silly. But regardless, I still had a fun time playing the game. Everybody that I was hanging out with, I gotta let them try Pokken out. Everybody loved it. The game is fresh. It was new. It was exciting. It was easy to get into, difficult to master, and that's how every game should be. Whereas, like, they walk you through it. Oh, not to mention, this is one thing that's fantastic about Pokken Tournament. A lot of people skip the tutorials. They're just like, I'm going to hop into it because I am a fighting game enthusiast. I have been playing since Street Fighter in the arcade. And then they pick up the game and it's like, what the heck is this game? I don't quite understand it. But the most glorious part about this game is that they literally walk you through everything if you go to practice and click on tutorial. That right there, that was the first thing I did. And when I saw how intuitive the tutorial of it was, I'm just like, anybody can get into this game because they teach you everything. Well, okay, most things. They don't tell you that Chandelure can break counters. They don't tell you that Braxton can build support. But that's what you find out when you learn about your characters. But when it comes about the actual button inputs, the gameplay, what you can do with certain moves, how you can counterattack, dash cancel, all that and more, they teach you that. They teach you everything. So it's easily accessible.
Definitely. And, I'm kind of like the flip side of that, where I didn't go to the tutorial at first. When I first got the game and I started messing around with it, I just dived into the single-player campaign, to the Ferrum League, and I just, again, went straight from there, started messing around, seeing what I could do with different characters. The first character I played was Blaziken, and I just went through most of the Ferrum League just playing as Blaziken, just having fun like that. But you're definitely right. Not only does Pokken, one of those few fighting games that actually really not holds your hand, but really kind of tries to give you all the tools of which you need in a fighting game, before you go online or before you start playing locally against other people and stuff. And I love fighting games like that. I think that that's along the same type of lines where not only Tekken Tag Tournament 2 specifically, or the later Tekken games, try to do the same thing, as well as also Virtual Fighter does almost the exact same thing. You find it a lot more differently with games like Street Fighter and the like. that don't really offer so much, that are like, you know, given to you like the basics of these types of games. But I feel like Pokken Tournament really got it right, and also it still has that same level of depth that, you know, players that have really been spending a lot of time with it can really learn different stuff and actually apply it, discuss it, compare notes and such like that. So I definitely feel exactly where you're coming from.
The gameplay, like, yeah, the gameplay. As a matter of fact, shoot, speaking of notes, the Apple Boom, the gameplay is so intuitive that you're able to just learn. Like, this man has been figuring out the frame data for everything easily.
Mm-hmm.
I just love how easy the game is to pick up. I mean, it works for all the control schemes. I mean, mind you, I never used the Wiimote and nunchuck, but let's be real here. Who plays competitively with the Wiimote and nunchuck?
Exactly.
Very few.
Nobody.
No. People do. Like, you see some people rocking out and you do your thing, but very few don't. The Pro Controller, it works great with, until I what is it? Because when I went to Shots Fire, I did not have the Pro Controller on me because I wasn't expecting to get Pokken Tournament that weekend. So I was using
Yeah.
the gamepad. I want you to know, playing on the gamepad, not with the gamepad. Look at the TV. I'm talking about playing on the gamepad.
Yeah.
Felt so great. Using the
Yeah,
Pro
I still do.
Controller still feels great. But the gamepad is actually really good. A lot of people are worried about that. Oh, well, what if I don't want to use the like, do you need the Hori Pro Pad? No. If you feel
Exactly.
comfortable, as a matter of fact, DK Will uses the Pro Controller so that way he can have the two extra shoulder buttons instead of the
Mm.
Hori Pad. I mean, mind you, their buttons are available on the Hori Pro Pad, but they're not as easily accessible as just moving your index finger up and down. So he mapped counterattack to a single button instead of applying it with A and B. So he can just it makes it easier for him to move around. So if that's your niche, then you, by all means, you go on and do your thing. Like, you have so many
Exactly.
control schemes, and you can map the controllers to how you want it. That there's no reason you play as you want. Rock out.
Exactly. Like, there's options available to you. It's like Smash Brothers, where you have all these control options. You have all these different types of like options or ways to play the game that are available to you. And I think that's great. I think that offers a lot of value for, especially for people of both audiences, the casual guys who just want to chill out, who just want to probably play through single player, maybe play a couple local matches with their friends here and there, but not really be like on the other flip side of that, like really going all out as a hardcore player, going out and playing, you know, online multiplayer constantly, playing local tournaments with versus a local multiplayer like that, all those different types of things. There's something for everybody there, and I think that's great. I think that's cool. I still myself, I play with the actual gamepad. I think this is one of those few games that actually feels really good and almost optimal to a point to play on the gamepad. And there's very few Wii games, or Wii U games, I should say, that actually are able to do that, or at least you could say that. I mean, there are those games that are more single player oriented, but this one I feels like, again, you got both audiences, both casual and hardcore, and you have something that's both single and multiplayer oriented like that. Now, one of the things I want to ask you, I want to kind of, you know, get your thoughts on this. What did you think about the whole idea about Pokemon and Tekken actually being mashed up together? Because when I first heard it, obviously, you know, like most other people, I was like, well, how's that going to work out? That doesn't kind of make sense. But then, you know, as we got into the game and stuff, and at least we started playing around and everything, you know, it really kind of like, you know, really stuck out to me as like, okay, this is something kind of like Kingdom Hearts, where it's Disney and Final Fantasy, two things you wouldn't ever think that would mash up together well, all of a sudden creates something pretty damn awesome. And that's how I felt about Pokken Tournament. But what did you think?
When I heard about it, I was skeptical about how they were going to implement it. If they do it enough to was it if they did it to where it was still Pokemon, but they just used their knowledge of fighting games to implement it, so to create it, then yeah, this would be a great game. If they took, or if they were trying to take Hayachi and slap Blaziken or Machamp on it, then we're going to have an issue. How are we going to do this? I'm glad to say it was the former. They took Pokemon and they really just ramped it up to be a Pokemon
Game.
fighter. It's a
Yeah.
Pokemon fighter, literally. This is how I described it. It's Pokken Tournament brings to life the way that we always imagined Pokemon battles would be, because they really just, like, they have the Pokemon moves. As a matter of fact, you have an entire button mapped to your Pokemon
Yeah.
moves, and every Pokemon actually breaking the kind of breaking the fourth wall, but they have 5 Pokemon moves mapped. Like, Chandelure has Flame Burst, Overheat, Hex, was it Will-O-Wisp, and what
Mm-hmm.
is it?
Overheat, right? Oh no, you mentioned Overheat already.
It's Overheat, Hex, Side Attack. Side Attack is Smog.
Smog, yeah.
And what is Back X? Is Back X the same thing? If Back X,
Uh, The laser.
if both sides do the same thing, then they only have 4 Pokemon moves. But in any case, they have Pokemon moves, but every other move you have is just the Pokemon doing their thing. That is how Pokemon battles should be. It's like how when Tail Whip does damage in the anime. Like in a real game, it just lowers your defense. But in anime, you can actually smack someone with your tail, then follow up with Thunderbolt. That is decent. You can do that in this game. Like Chandelure can just hit you with this little, like he extends his fire, smacks you, then combos in a Smog, which you can just drop into a Will-O-Wisp or put a laser beam, which I don't know where the laser comes from still, but still it's
that flame.
Yeah, it's just a random beam of fire he just throws out. Like, oh, look at this Pokemon move I've never actually named, so I can't use it in the game, but it's still freaking awesome. Beam.
Yeah,
it's
very action packed. Very, very action-packed. And definitely I'm with you on that one. Like, the way I kind of compare it to is, like, if you take the original Pokemon anime that we all saw as, like, kids and such, and then you compare it to something like Pokemon Origins, which I felt like, again, seeing that, like, 4 or 5 episodes, it made Pokemon really cool for me. Like, it was, like, action-packed. It was all over the place. But one of the things that I think that some people have talked about here and there and stuff, what if Pokken Tournament, instead of turning out the way that it did now, where it feels a little bit more along the lines of Tekken mixed with, like, some Power Stone and such, what if it had much more of an approach like what you see in games like Marvel vs. Capcom, or like any of the versus games that you see from Capcom, or Street Fighter versus whatever like that, where it was a lot more crazy and hectic and stuff? Because this one, Pokken Tournament, feels a little bit much more along the lines of Tekken, where it's a lot more diffused, like Tekken Tag Tournament, where it still has that element of ridiculousness, because it's all these Pokemon and such, but it's still grounded in some sort of, like, some sort, not real, I don't want to say reality per se, but like it feels a lot more grounded than something over the top like a Marvel.
I feel like when it comes to, I think they did a great job at first. They did exactly what they needed to do. They made a basic fighter. They have 16 fighters, so you have a variety, but you're not overwhelmed by anything. And I think that they took the best approach, and that's just coming up with the groundwork. Excuse me. Coming up with the groundwork of it, and that's what they needed to do. So, first of all, I don't like the idea of always comparing it to. I don't like the idea of always comparing it to another video game. I feel like that's just a folly of this generation. Knows a lot of people look for similarities as a way to understand something better. But I don't think that's fair. This is not Tekken. It's Pokken Tournament. And the game, like, of course, it's a fighting game, so you're going to find similarities between all of them. If anything is more similar, it's Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter, and Marvel. Marvel. Like, they're all the most similar if you want to compare anything. But, with that said, Pokken Tournament, I think, has the first game as establishing the groundwork with phase shifts, with the combos you can do, with the understanding of how much damage output would cause a phase shift, all that and more. The synergy gauge, that's always great. That was great. That's all we needed right now. And I was talking about this, like, the future of Pokken. I feel like we need Pokken Tag Tournament. Just because I want to be able to go into battle with Lucario and Blaziken, going up against like Pikachu and Charizard. Tell me that wouldn't be sick.
Tag team battles, like in the Pokemon games. That would be awesome, actually.
That would be awesome. Like, just triple. You can literally just say, all right, we're doing a double battle, we're doing a triple battle, and you can have them all, like, literally the same concept as this. How many Pokemon are you using at one time? So you can do Tekken Street Fighter. Tag Tournament. You can do Marvel vs. Capcom 3. You can do Tatsunoko vs. Capcom if you want, with the doubles or the triple battles, and literally bring out all the Pokemon that you want. But that's just me, like, being a guy and pushing forward, like, oh, I want more and more and more. But still, I think that, I don't know. I think Pokken has a bright future. All we gotta do now, though, is just get the community to be behind it. That's what's the most important.
Yeah, I think that actually, for me personally, I think that comparing it to some other games, again, like Tekken, which is the most obvious comparison and such, I think makes the game look better, in my opinion. I think that with Pokken Tournament specifically, it feels like a Tekken game for the most part. Like, it reminds me very heavily, especially when you're in dual phase, of Tekken 2. Like, obviously without the 8-way run, without going in and out of space and stuff like that. And then when you're in field phase, for me, it just reminds me of Power Stone, because obviously those styles of games play very similar, especially in the control layout, the way things are presented and stuff. And if anything, it's just taking two really awesome things, and again, just putting them together like that, and just makes something more awesome for me. But just, you're right, as far as like introducing the field, the phase shifts, being able to go in between the two seamlessly during the course of a battle and still have that checks and balances between the two fighters or the two characters and stuff, I think is pretty damn good. That's, for me, that just makes the game that much more better.
Well, I can't compare it to anything when it says the Power Stone or anything like that, because a lot of people don't know. Well, actually, I feel like a lot of people should know this.
They should know about Power Stone.
I'm pretty vanilla when it comes to, like, I've never played a fighting game like this. I like fighting games, but I've never been in a community like this. Like, I just now recently learned what 2Y and all that stuff means.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, so I mean, I can't compare it to any other games. All I can do is say that I think the game, just as a matter of fact, you know what? And then I think about it, being a game of that background and being able to bring in somebody who's pretty new to this type of genre, such as myself, and be so enthralled with the game, I think that's a good testament to how easily accessible the game is.
I think it's great. Again, it makes the game even better because more people get introduced, again, like you said, to this genre. I think it's using something very familiar like Pokemon, because Pokemon is a vast franchise. It's a huge IP out there. Again, there's tons of Pokemon games, a lot of spin-offs and stuff. This is one of the first spin-offs that's really, I've seen resonate with a lot of people. You know, again, because it goes into that uncharted territory that you don't find in most of the other Pokemon games, and especially the spin-offs that aren't part of the main series. Like, you have your Pokemon Snap, you have your Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, you have even this one with, Nobunaga, which I forgot what it was actually called. I don't remember if it was like Pokemon Ranger or something like that, where it has to do with like feudal Japan and strategy gameplay and such. But like, those all had their niche audiences and stuff. And I feel like this one not only has a lot of potential to really appeal to the mainstream by blending together Pokemon with the whole fighting game type of like genre like that, but really becomes something a lot more bigger, especially in depth, where you'll start seeing it be played at places like Evo and all these other tournaments, or even featured in other like big conventions like Comic-Con, etc.
Yeah, that's the only worrisome part about Pokken, is that we got to make sure if we wanted to stick around, we got to make sure that the community keeps growing with it. The game is new, it's great. We have a lot of people starting to get into it, but I feel like a lot of people are also just like, I mean, you know how it is with people. They don't want to try something new because, hey man, I don't know what this is, and I'm just gonna stick with what I know. Smash, bro.
And then they're done.
Yeah, they're kind of done. Me, what was it? I started playing with it, and I've been enthralled with it. I am looking forward to seeing how much further I can take myself with this game. Actually, I actually understand it better than I do Smash, and I've been playing Smash for so long.
Yeah,
But like I said,
I can definitely relate.
0-2, and then as a matter of, did I think about it? That tournament where I went 0-2 was my last Smash tournament. I've been playing Pokken.
I remember you putting it on Twitter about that. It was like, you know what, guys, I'm done with Smash. I'm going to Pokken. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah,
like,
we Pokken now. But I mean, I wasn't even saying, like, I was just talking about, I was upset on Twitter. I'm just like, yeah, man, guys, I've been playing this game for so long. I actually like take an objective look to myself and try to apply it. But when I get in the tournament, it's a different mentality, and I just don't like it. But I just don't feel that with Pokken. Like I said, maybe it's just more of my game. Maybe I'm just taking to it more, but I just don't feel that pressure when it comes to Pokken. I feel happy. I feel excited.
Maybe it's the Pokemon series. Maybe it's the Pokemon franchise. I mean, it could be any number of things, but it definitely still has that appeal with a lot of players out there, new and old alike. Now, one of the things I want to get into also, again, between both the actual game itself, the single player content, and such, you know, we did our reviews for Pokken Tournament, guys. Okay, I ended up writing a review for the Koalition.com, which you guys can find right there on the Koalition.com. There's a link to it in the description box below for you guys to actually read up on it. I ended up giving the game about 8.5 or 85 out of 100, whatever your score is or whatnot. And one of the things that I thought was really cool was the amount of content that was offered with the Ferrum League. And I thought that was a cool way not only to introduce you into the actual game, like as far as like the gameplay mechanics and stuff, but I did feel that the Ferrum League was a little bit kind of like towards the end of it wasn't rewarding enough by after you put so much time into it. But what is your thoughts about the single player content?
Well, the single player, I think that the single player is great because that's where I learned all of my stuff about Shannon Lore. Like, a lot of people thought that, you know, I've really went into the lab and really practiced the frame data and whatnot. Shannon Lore looked out combos. No, I'm a really reactive learner. Like, I learn from just doing and failing, but then adjusting and applying, and then I get better. That's how I am. And the Ferrum League, the difficulty of that, it really does help you out with just learning your character, practicing your combos, and then increasing the difficulty as where you should be to help you get even better. Because, like, the first two leagues, yeah, they're cake. You run through them, you understand the game, you start learning your character that you're picking up and whatnot. You get to that, it's C, D. So you get to the A League, and A League is like, all right, we about to ramp it up on you. They start doing combos. And speaking of which, I do want to give praise to the computers in this game. They actually provide a real challenge.
Yeah, towards the end they do, especially in S League, and when you get to Iron League, that's when it really starts to ramp up.
And it's not any bullcrap where they react to you. they're playing their game. Like, I don't feel like, I wouldn't say I'm exactly playing a human, because obviously CPUs can't pick up on your habits, and humans can dictate that stuff or see that stuff and then apply it to the match. But with that said, I think that with that said, I think that like
they become less flowchart.
Say again?
They become less flowchart.
Yes. Like, the CPUs are really good in this game. So the Family, it is great. I think that is very fun for anybody who's really trying to just learn a character. If you're getting into it and you get the controls down with your tutorial, then by all means, rock out. You go to the tutorial. I'm sorry, you go to the Family and you learn your character. However, as you said, it is grueling. To do my 15-hour playthrough, my 15-part playthrough, I had to. It took me like 15 hours.
Yeah,
it's
about an hour apart.
It's insane. Like,
yeah, it's a long time.
And I cut out so many battles because the battles are just kind of there.
Monotonous. They could get a little monotonous.
Yes, yeah, you're just doing the same thing over again. Especially with, like, this is where the limited character roster shines, because I had to face 3 Weaviles in one run. Seriously, it was Weavile, Charizard, really? Weavile, I think Gardevoir, then Weavile. And I'm like, really? This is all we have? We have nothing else? Nobody? Okay. So I had to trudge through that. But, I mean, you get to the end, at least the Family, the whole thing, with Shadow Mewtwo. Oh, that's another thing I should mention, is that the storyline is actually sprinkled in between the battles you have to do to rank up in the Family. So that's like a little motivation for you to keep going. But after that, like after you get done Shadow Mewtwo, there's no real incentive to do anything
to finish it. Yeah, exactly. Like it starts to wind down, like especially after you finish the like all the real story content where you start going to the other places in the map, which I felt there wasn't enough of. I felt like there was like those were like 2 different games that were mashed up into one mode. Because if they would have given us more of that, I felt like it would have been an amazing actual single player campaign, and then have a whole separate mode just devoted to the league matches. That would have been cool, because I would have felt like we would have gotten more bang for our buck in that case. But the way that they handled it, I felt like it was cool with the brief time that it lasted, but it was kind of out of place. And then once you finish the Iron League, they don't give you anything for doing that other than, I think it's a title. You get the title of Grandmaster, I think it is.
Yeah, you become well, you said the Iron League, right?
The Iron League, yeah.
You get the title of Grandmaster, but that's it. Like, you actually unlock It's silly. Like, you save Mewtwo, and you continue on through the Chroma League, which is where you stopped off at. And the Chroma League is all like, it was, by the way, this is like spoilers, guys, so mute yourself for like 30 seconds if you don't want to hear it. But yeah, pretty much, you go to the Iron League, the Chroma League, and you save Mewtwo, and then you go back to it, and you do your top 8 match, you do your league rank match, league master match to become S rank, and then you're good. You won. You are the greatest around. No one will ever keep you down. Blah blah blah. But then afterwards, Nia was lying to you the entire time. It was like, hey, so even though I said this is the last league, there's actually one more league you can do. Oh, so you mean I'm a champion of the league, but there's 100 people in this league. The other leagues have less people than a champion. So this league is actually really easy, because the league that's only for champions has the most amount of people in it, but the other one only had 90 and 60 and 40. So what are you telling me, Nia? And you lied to me the entire time. So why should I believe anything that you say? But I don't like your freaking voice, because your voice acting in this game is gone. Sorry. Sorry.
No, it's true. You're totally right. The voice acting, especially the English voice acting, is not good. We could all agree upon that. And I think I even said that in my review. It's just that the voice acting, I feel like, nobody was really into it. Nia, she has some of her moments, but still, for the most part, it's bad. Even I would argue the Japanese voice track isn't the best. I feel like it was just kind of done in like a whatever type of state. Like, you could have just had text with the action, like, very similar to the original Pokemon games, and I don't think anybody would have cared.
Probably, but it's like on the Wii. I don't know, on the Wii U, I kind of want voice. Then again, no, there wasn't any voice acting in Pokemon Coliseum on XD, so there you go.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I feel like it was that forgettable.
But it was more so annoying and depressing than exciting and exhilarating. It was just bad. The voice acting was just, and you had to deal with it as you went through it. There is nothing more insulting than when you're learning the game and you mess up, and Nia says, "Yikes! They made you their punching bag."
Yeah, yeah, that's so true.
Or
oh man,
you were like a Magikarp out of water there. You're supposed to be encouraging.
That's the best. I'm sorry. It's so funny. And I will give him credit though. Like you could actually have the option to turn that off. That is at least cool that you have that option stuff. But that is patronizing. That is kind of hilarious.
That's horrible. Like you're in the middle of a match and you just got perfected, right? So it was like, all right, I need to do. Now, if it was in real life, people like, all right, so someone would tell you who's coaching you, be like, all right, I see you're not using enough lasers. You're a Chandelure. Use more lasers. And I'd be like, yo, I got you, coach. But she's just like, yeah, stop. Like, you're a magic carp out of water. Get in the water. Or stop being a punching bag. Like, don't let them hit you. But what? You're not telling me anything to do. Oh, the most annoying thing. You're in field phase. Use more projectiles. Or your still support thing goes up. Your support gauge is now available. Use it now. Or your synergy gauge fills up. You can now go into... I don't need you to tell me anything. I know how to manage my own gauges. I know how to manage my own character. I know how to manage my own Pokemon battle. I need you to sit back and watch me because you talk all this dirt about how your Weavile is A1, but he takes a nap and you want to win the Phantom League, but you can't even get out of Diva. I'm sorry. I hate Nia.
It's the truth. It's funny. It's funny.
I'm sorry. I apologize for the abrupt loudness, but I seriously despise Nia. The voice acting in this game is atrocious, but the thing is, you actually have to interact and deal and see the personality of Nia, and from what I've seen, from what I've had to hear, I don't like her. I want her gone. I'm glad she's never won the Phantom League. I hope she never earns a darn badge in her life. I hope she can't even lose to Ash. I hope Ash goes over her in the Pokemon League, and Ash never wins a Pokemon League. That means she's lost to somebody who isn't even a winner, who isn't to be a champion. I hope she never finds. I hope she never finds a Razor Claw in her life again, so she can't get herself another Weavile. I hope that it's never nighttime for her. I hope she has to deal with searing sunlight every single day. Yo, shout out to Groudon, Primal Groudon. I don't just talk. I'm sorry.
It's fine. No, I totally get it. You're totally right. I will say one thing though. I do like Nia's outfits and stuff. You could customize them. That's always cool. More customization. But
they cater to the Weezer that one. Like I unlocked the Santa Claus costume. I'm like,
yeah.
Really?
It's random too. She got a Halloween costume. I would have taken more outfits, And by the way, that's another thing we should talk about is the customization of your avatar for when you actually go online or when you actually play through Fire Emblem and stuff. I feel like there's way too little or way too limiting amount of options for your character. Like there was just certain things like I will never use. There's certain color options or certain types of items that seem cool, but I wish you could kind of customize them in different ways and stuff, and it felt limiting.
Well, my major issue is the fact that when you first start up the game, I'm black, right? I have black people hair. Black people hair is normally one of three ways. Braided, afroed, or shortcut. It's the way that we live. It's the way it's comfortable. Our hair can only do but so much. It is what it is.
It's the culture.
Yeah, this is who we are. So with that said, I want to make myself look black. I can put on black skin, and that's it.
That's all you could do from the very get-go. You have like hardly any options.
I'm forced to look like Cloud, like the Black Cloud.
Oh yeah,
because there are no other options. Like I understand this is anime, but come on, dude. Like it's supposed to be me. Guess what? I'm not anime. I'm not a
exactly.
Weeb. I never imagined myself with this hair. So please.
I mean, it's just goofy where I felt like, again, you not only had to play to get more basic options, which I think is silly. You should be given a bunch of stuff from the very get-go and then unlock some of the cooler stuff later on. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some options in there, especially the background, like little effects you could add that are pretty damn cool for when your actual trainer is actually being displayed on the screen. But, like, most of that stuff you don't get to see until maybe you start getting to, like, the second or third league of Ferrum League or play at least a bunch of matches where you start getting it through the lucky bonus and stuff. Or, by the way, the amiibo support, which I felt was lackluster to an extent because once you start unlocking all the stuff there, you will completely just like not use the amiibos at no point whatsoever afterwards. Like even then I felt like there should have been some other more incentive, like maybe extra fights that you could do by scanning an amiibo. Like to me that would have been cool. That would have made sense in the context of everything.
Yeah, I was wishing for more. Like I don't feel like scanning 5 different amiibos every single day to get more stuff. I'm just not interested in that much.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's just silly.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could have did more with that, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna like lord it over them or whatever. But it's still, like you said, it is silly. It's one of those things where it's like, hey, can we get anything else? Like, please? No?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and the other thing I think we should mention before we get into online multiplayer, which I think is going to be the big topic of this one, local multiplayer, which I think that obviously, you know, as we talk more about like the competitive scene and such, I feel like local multiplayer, the ball was kind of dropped a little bit. I don't like the idea of having someone needs to use the gamepad. I wish like you could just sync like two different types of like pro controllers or two different types of wire pro controllers or whatever like that, and that would have been more convenient. Like because there are plenty of other games that allow that to happen, especially even Smash Brothers and such. So why Pokken Tournament specifically just makes you use the gamepad is beyond
For
me.
local, because of the way the gameplay is, it makes complete sense. I mean, granted, when everyone heard it, it was like, oh, that kind of sucks. Oh, it drops the frame rate. Oh, that's lame, dude. Like, what the heck? And I even called for the death of the Pokemon community from that moment. From the Pokken community from that moment.
He's packing it in.
Stop that. But yeah, I did because I'm just like, it's not going to survive because it's going to be crazy expensive to do anything. But I'm glad to say that I was wrong. A lot of people have been working with it. I mean, granted, it's crazy expensive. I remember Bear UNLV, I believe that's his Twitter handle. He did the math for it, and to calculate it, what you have to do is you need a Wii U system, so that's 250. You need two of them,
Yeah.
so that's 500. You need Pokken Tournament, that's 600. You need two of them, so I'm sorry, that's 600. That's $60. You need two of them, so that's was it 120? So pretty much, let's just say this: you need one Wii U system, one Pokken. Actually, I'm gonna do the math right now. Let's do the math right now. So
doing the math.
So Wii U system is 250. Pokken Tournament is $60. This isn't including tax, by the way. Tax is located by wherever you at. You need a good TV. Now, let's just say you're gonna go for a BenQ 24-inch. That runs you about $180. And then you need well, you actually know I don't know. Do you want to? I guess bring your own controller, but you still need the gamepad. So make sure you keep that with the system in case somebody is that one person who prefers the gamepad. So so with Pokken Tournament. Oh no, I'm sorry. You need a LAN adapter, and it doesn't cost you that much, but you do need it. Let's say $10, depending on what brand you get. Because sometimes only 20, but let's say $10. And then you need to get the connector cable. Now the connector cable you only need one, so I'm going to save off for that one. But so we add all that up, that's $500. So you times that by 2, that's $1,000. Now that's two systems for one setup. Now here's the worst part. You want to get at least 4 setups for a local event. Well, not at least, but around 4, 3 to 4 works. So you multiply 1,000 by 3, and that brings you to $3,000 to run an event efficiently. That's 6 systems. That's 6 TVs. That's expensive.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. But I understand why, because the way the game is played, it can't be played any other way. Like, granted, in dual phase, yes, you could rock out with pro people on the screen. But the thing is, it has the phase shift and field phase. And field phase is a great mechanic, but it also makes it to where the positioning can be changed. Now, you could take the Mario Tennis approach and just say, all right, if you're player 2, then you're always going to be on the far end and adjust yourself that way. But then it could be confusing when you go to a tournament. Like all your moves in one way are backwards when you're facing another way.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like I said, it is a thing you could do, but I understand why they decided to keep the integrity at 60 frames per second and just require 2 systems. It sucks because a lot of people ain't got that much money. Shoot, I can tell you right now, I ain't got that much money. And the local I go to, he relies on other people bringing. I mean, he has the monitors because he runs the local event, so obviously he already invested in the monitors for Smash. But
yeah,
I mean, for the 6 systems that the 5 systems that he has for Smash, which is 10 people playing at once, you need all of them for 3 setups, for 3 full setups, and have 6 people playing at once. It takes a while.
Yeah. So overall, there's a logic to it, though. I mean, granted, again, like me, and I'm pretty sure like all of you guys that are listening to this now, you at least would like the convenience of being able to use just variant controllers on one system and stuff. But there is a logic to it, like you pointed out, which is cool. Which is cool for what it is. Now, let's talk about online multiplayer, which I think is the biggest thing for Pokken Tournament, which is one of the very few games that I think has a very solid infrastructure for online multiplayer, more so than a lot of other fighting games that are out now, including Street Fighter V.
See, you can't. I gotta cut you off there. You can't say solid infrastructure when the ranking system is that buku messed up as it is.
I was just gonna get to that, but here's the thing. I was just gonna get to that. There's a reason though, okay?
All right.
Overall, without the boosting, without the craziness with the leaderboards and all that stuff, because when we were playing Pokken Tournament, I remember when me and you were playing and everybody else was playing it for review and such, during that launch week, it was pretty damn solid. I think we could all agree upon that. It was pretty good. But what I was going to say next is that now, obviously, that has been germinating around for a while. Things have obviously changed. You know, you have a little bit much more frequency in matches, you know, depending on who you get matched up with in the entire world, you know, as far as latency issues, as far as, again, you know, certain things that might be broken with certain characters or abusable for certain characters that totally change up that environment from what it was back then and such. The other thing, too, is also, I think, also comes into play is the roster of characters. Now, for me personally, I wish, like, again, I wish we could start going into that Tekken Tag Tournament 2 territory where we could start getting more Pokemon available. Like, if there's ever a Pokken Tournament 2, I feel like the roster should double in size because being in the Pokemon universe, there's a large variety of monster designs that I would love to see in this type of engine or at least this type of gameplay style like that. And it would make sense being in the Pokemon universe where instead of an entire league having one of 16 Pokemon that's available to you, there'd be obviously a much more larger variety and such. And again, limitations, design, all that stuff withstanding, you know, I feel like that would be like the next logical evolution for a gameplay like this. But what do you think about this, you know, before we get into real meat of online gameplay?
Well, I don't think this roster needs to double. We got to remember that you also have 30 Pokemon helping out as assists. So that's a cast of what 46, which is pretty decent.
I mean, different, yeah, but different types of Pokemon that appear in the
Yeah,
game.
that these are as playable. When it comes to playable, yes, the roster definitely needs to increase. But like I said earlier, I think that the way they did this, the way they approached it, was really good. They really just made a basic pattern. You have a character for every instance. I mean, you even have Braxton here, when everyone was like, "Why Braxton and why not Delphox?" Well, have you seen how Braxton played? Can you imagine a Delphox playing that way? There you go. Like you can't imagine. I can't see a Delphox running around nimbly on was it running around nimbly on a witch thing, like a witch broomstick thing.
Well, she's got a huge like fur dress almost practically
Exactly.
compared to the little Braxton that could just walk around as a little bit more mobile.
Exactly. Not to mention, let's be real here. This is Japan. They already know what they're doing. You're picking a little fox.
Pop idol.
Like there's no way. Yeah, pop idol fox. Yeah. Like that's marketing in and of itself. Shoot, so many people were happy when they said Delphi. Like, oh my god, my furry mane is so here. I'm like, all right, you do your thing. I mean, I'm not hating on you, but it's just like one of those things where they expanded their roster to enough to where they have something for everybody. You have a few zoners, you have a few speed characters, you have a few power characters, you have a few technical characters, you have a few standard characters, you have a few combo monsters, you have a few pure power, like just strength. You have something for everybody in this game. You have somebody who has great maneuverability, like I said, in Braxton and Weavile and Pikachu, or I think Pikachu Libre. Like literally, you have a lot of styles. So 16, I think is good for right now. Yes, I wanted to see it expanded, but I haven't no idea because I've never made a video game in my life. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I think that everything is good for right now.
I think, yeah, I agree. I think everything's good, but for me, that'll be like the next logical step, or at least the next evolution of like, even if we get DLC or if we get like a remastered, you know, edition of Pokken Tournament or a Pokken Tournament 2, however they decide to go about it. I mean, again, they have a lot of options available to them. Now, let's talk about online gameplay itself. Now, there's, again, like I mentioned before, there's been a lot of stuff that's changed since we first did our reviews for the game way back when during launch week and stuff. There's a lot of things that have been discovered for a variety of different characters throughout the entire cast for the most part. Some stuff abusable, some stuff some say, or at least would argue, are broken, some stuff that's balanced and everything. Obviously, like you mentioned before, the leaderboards, I think right now, for me personally, I think the leaderboards are a joke. I think that they've been completely just been abused and been completely just steamrolled with a lot of different things. But what are you thinking about, you know, the online gameplay so far?
The leaderboards are garbage. They are absolute garbage. You know why they're garbage? Because they don't, first of all, the point leaderboard. They don't go by how many points you have at the moment. They go by how many you won total.
And you gain, pretty much.
Exactly. So you could say that somebody has 35,000 points gained. However, because of the amount of matches that they lost, they only have 15,000 of them now. Yeah, that 15,000 number that you have at the moment, that has nothing to do with it. They only care about how much you've gained overall. And that'll put you at the top of the leaderboard. And you can have somebody who has 25,000 points earned total, but they still have 20,000 of their points. But guess what? They haven't played the game as long as the other person, so they're not represented properly. It's a joke. It's nothing to even take.
And it's abusable. It's abusable to the max, because keep in mind, at least at the time of this recording right now, there's been no patch or anything adjustment-wise to the game where it prevents you from, it gives you some sort of penalty for rage quitting.
No. There is a penalty. There is a penalty.
Oh, there is a penalty. Now?
There's always been a penalty. You want to know what it is?
What is it?
It is the stupidest, most asinine way Nintendo could have.
I gotta hear this.
If you are playing a ranked match versus somebody and you disconnect before the game is completed, you will receive a penalty of not your ranking going down, a penalty of not your not losing points total. No, what you're going to lose is 100,000 in-game currency.
That's so stupid. That doesn't even count, dude. Like that's such a cop out, because what does that really do, or how does that influence people from really kind of like not quitting during a match? Because again, like you said, it doesn't affect ranking, doesn't affect your time. Like they should have a system in place, kind of like Smash Brothers, that locks you out of online play if you rage quit on somebody. Like, I always felt like that's like an acceptable way of punishing people that just disconnect their console, which, by the way, in Pokken Tournament, guys, you have to turn off your console in order to
Yes, there's no press start quit. You have to turn it. You have to get up out of your chair, or just use your gamepad if you're using that. But get up and actually press the power button and hold it until it's turned off.
That's such a garbage thing, though, to lose money, because you can get that back so easily.
I want you to know I have 41 million Poké dollars.
Yeah, I got too much. I got too much money.
Let's see how many times I can disconnect. Divided by 100,000, I can disconnect 410 times and save my ranking.
And be good. There's nothing wrong with it. That's to me, that's stupid. But the other thing too that I think is weird is because you know the ranking that you get, like, the B5, B3, whatever, as you go up and stuff. The people that get towards the top of the leaderboards, like you said, because of the amount of points, but also on the amount of wins too and stuff. People that have higher rankings aren't usually the ones on the top of the leaderboard. Though the ones that are like much more the better, quote unquote, the better skilled players aren't usually the ones getting into that top 10 sometimes.
Actually, you know what? The month changed. I'm gonna have to look at that. The rankings do change every month. I'm gonna have to see who's at the top now, because back then when they first announced it, we had somebody like, okay, let's take Shofu for example. This man was going in, he was number 1. He had like let's say 8,000 points, right?
Yeah, and I remember Chekiao came up afterwards.
He woke up the next day and somebody had 13,000.
I remember
grinded overnight like 8 hours.
Yeah. I remember that, and I was like, "Wow, nobody sleeps." Like at that point, it's just silly.
I don't have time. Like I said, if the points actually represented how much you have total, then it would be accurate. Like, dang, not only did this man stay up this late and play constantly, but he actually kept consistently winning. That's insane. I gotta get my grind up. There's no incentive. I'm not interested in that. The only thing that matters right now is ranking. Ranking is what's accurate. Ranking shows how often you've been winning and losing. I mean, granted, you can lose a rank up match and then lose a lot. But it's just like, if I face somebody who is let's say A1, I know darn well they've been winning a lot and I should be on my guard. If I face someone who's A5, it most likely means that they just started the game and they may not have experience, or they made a dummy account and they're going to completely body my soul. We don't know, but it's just
true.
But it's just that A1 is more definitive, saying, okay, this person knows what he's doing, because he won so many times in a row that he's now at this level.
Yeah. Exactly. It just, again, I just thought it was kind of funny how people that just get to that top 10, or at least get to the top of that top 10 like that, sometimes they're of lower ranking than the players below them.
C4 or something like that, dude.
Yeah, exactly, which is hilarious to me. And I can understand, because there are rank down matches and rank up matches in Pokken Tournament. So, like, if you lose a bunch of matches,
just connect and don't lose your rank down match.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you lose a bunch of matches, theoretically, you'll get ranked down and stuff. But people, again, would disconnect their consoles or turn them off in order to save themselves and not be penalized from it. Which also, by the way, too, the amount of points that you gain depending on victories and stuff, and you lose, is inconsistent.
Yeah. That's the worst part. The game is crazy. Ow! Shoot. Sorry. My cat.
Yeah, the points are that bad.
No, my cat just jumped on my thigh and dug her claws into me. I'm sorry.
She was like, "You're talking about Pokken Tournament rank matches? No, we can't have that." It's like,
stop talking about my ranking system. I worked on that, but
but you understand what I mean, though? Like, it's very inconsistent with the way that how much points you gain, how much points you lose, and stuff. There's no consistency throughout the rankings.
Okay. Here's the best example. I'm B4, right? Well, I was B4.
Yeah.
Now I'm B3.
Yeah.
Yay. But I was ranked B4, and I faced another ranked B4, like a Lucario or something like that. Now it went to game 3 scenario, and I lost. I'm sorry, I won. I got 100 points. I played, you know, you just mash the A button. I ended up getting matched up with the same person again. I lost that time, and I lost 150. What?
Which doesn't make sense.
What? Why? Why do I gain more than? I was like, why do I lose more than I gain? But I mean, granted, you could just say, oh, it's more incentive to play, you know, better, consistently win. Yeah, but
that doesn't make sense.
But it still was a bit unfair to lose so like 150%. 150 points if you lose, to only 100 if you win to somebody of the same rank. And when God forbid that you lose to somebody who is like C4, because you get dropped. I mean,
yeah, big time.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I actually lost 200 points one time. I lost to a spammy Chandelure. I mean, that's Chandelure, Gardevoir.
Exactly. So, I mean, one more thing about online play that I want to talk about before we get into like the final topic, which is going to be tournament stuff specifically, and like, you know, the longevity of the game. I want to know about some of the stuff that could have been added to Pokken Tournament. Now, for me personally, again, looking at Bandai Namco, which is the guys who helped develop this game, that they make Tekken and stuff, and I look at Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which is like their most recent Tekken before Tekken 6 and also Tekken 7 Fated Retribution, which is also coming soon. They have, obviously, like most fighting games now at this point, have stuff like lobbies, have stuff like recording matches, have stuff like, you know, searching for specific players, like, you know, not using the versus code like what Pokken Tournament does, or using your friends list and stuff, searching for specific players or setting up, you know, private rooms and stuff like that. Pokken Tournament doesn't have any of that stuff. Do you think that, in your opinion, you know, that make the online experience better for a lot of players out there? Because for me, I think I would be welcome to that, because obviously it's been a standard for most fighting games that are out there now, or at least part of the genre and such, and I think it could help make the big game better.
Well, your mistake is assuming that anything that's on a Nintendo console is going to be anything like that someone else does. They innovate. They don't want to be the same, even if it's proven to be amazing. I mean, look at online gaming. Nintendo was so late to that.
True, like, they were incredibly but I don't find that innovation though. Like, to me, I find that now, for the genre, not as far as like the consoles or the console manufacturers stuff, for the genre of fighting games, I feel like fighting games have gone in a direction, or at least those types of style of games have been allowing us to make it a little bit easier, or give us more options to get matched up with players around the world. Like in my case, I love the idea of just being in a lobby of 8 players, 8 slots and stuff, and having that arcade style simulation thing where, again, winner stays, loser goes, next person comes in. I love that. I think that works wonders for the genre. It's a very Street Fighter-esque type of thing from back in the heyday, but it works for like just about every fighting game that's around. And I think also the ability just to host a private room, like if you just want to play a private match with your boy, you know, online and stuff, I think you should have those types of options. With Pokken, it gives you the versus code, which, again, you could tell the other person to use a specific versus code, but then obviously there's some people have complained that, you know, some people might accidentally be using the same versus code and they might not get matched up with the right person, or other things might come up here and there. And I feel like the game could benefit from having those types of other style of online options.
Yes, it actually would be great to have that rank. I mean, shoot, I can't tell how many times I sat into a call. I'm like, yo, let's grind Pokken. And we were grind Pokken, but then we had to keep playing the same person over and over again. I mean, granted, you could have everybody in a single room and then just click back. What is it? Yeah, you can have everybody under one code, and then everyone's playing each other, and then you click on battle next opponent, and then you'll play the next person.
True.
But
True.
It'd be better if it was literally all right, like, okay, you never bring people over your house to play Smash, and you do one-on-one, so then when someone drops out, you call next.
Yeah,
it'd be better if it was like that. I mean, I don't know. Cause I understand like they want everybody to keep playing on their own, but the versus code system definitely could have been better. I would have liked to at least watch the matches that my people in like spectator mode would have been awesome.
Yeah, spectator mode I feel like is another thing that would really benefit this game. I feel like you should be able, like Smash Brothers, to save your matches. That and share them. Like, I think that's a thing that should be in all fighting games in my opinion, because I think that not only helps grow, like, as far as like the community of people playing that game. It makes it better. It shows, it gets a lot of good matches and good moments for people that just can't use like an Elgato or something to record their gameplay. It puts it out there. That's why I love how the way Smash Brothers handled it, where it makes it so easy. You could send it to YouTube, you could save it on the actual servers themselves. That I think is pretty damn cool, and I think Pokken needs that.
A replay system would be great because there are some times where I gotta win, and then it's just like, hey, look, what is that? I want you guys to see this combo I did where I took someone from like 0 to 280 damage. I mean, granted, Shindy can't do that, but actually no, I'm lying.
Off the wall.
No. I have to show you later, but it is possible now.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to ESC Catfight.
But now let's talk about the tournament scene. Let's talk about tournament viability for Pokken Tournament. So many tournaments. But for Pokken itself, the tournament viability. Now, you've been to a tournament, or you've been to a couple now, right now at this point, right? For Pokken
yes.
specifically? Okay, so tell me about that environment. So that way the people that are listening to this right now who have not been to that environment just yet or haven't had the chance to do so, what is that like, and do you think it'll last?
It kind of reminds me how everybody who plays Street Fighter, because the local I went to, they added Pokken to their Street Fighter local, and it's great. Honestly, like everyone just goes in there, they play the game. The only thing that sucks is that you need two separate screens. But at the same time, competitively, like when you're playing, being able to have your own screen dedicated to you, so your opponent's not sitting actually next to you, that's nice. I actually feel less stress.
Now, obviously, because the game's still kind of, you could say at this point, the game's still kind of like in its infantile stages as far as like really, getting those players that really learn the craft of the game and learning all the nuances of the actual gameplay and the mechanics and everything like that. Do you think that obviously over maybe, however amount of time, like this will be like one of those games that everybody looks at it be kind of like, very, if not the same, if not more, somewhat similar to games like obviously Marvel, to games like, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, etc. The list goes on as far as like the competitiveness and the hype behind it.
Yes. People, obviously some things need to be glitched. Not glitched. Some things need to be fixed, like Shadow Mewtwo's Infinite.
Oh yeah,
but that patch is coming soon.
Thank God.
But otherwise, yes, I think that the game can bring that type of hype. I know that we've had such. I was at the event, and I'm at my locals, and even the people was just like, "Yo, he's like crazy." Like, okay, I started calling it Trump strats with Chandelure. Yeah. And I didn't start saying that. Viewer said that, and I just kind of absorbed it. But
adopted it.
but pretty much, is when I just use all the projectiles in field phase, and I just keep my opponent out. I build a wall against my opponent.
You zone him.
Exactly. What is it? A lot of people don't like it, and they get mad at me. They say, "Oh, well, why should you do that? You can't be using projectiles. You're just spamming." Nope. There's a method to my madness. Excuse you. But anyway, but yeah, like when I was doing that, I heard everyone just like, "Yo, is he gonna get in?" The one time he got in, almost got in, I pushed him back out, and it was just like, "Oh my God!" And I'm like, "Yo, I'm glad to be this villain in this situation. Can I keep doing this?"
I mean, those are fun moments, though. That reminds me heavily of Street Fighter, like, with Shoto characters, spamming Hadokens, or characters like, even in Mortal Kombat, using fireballs as Liu Kang, etc. There's those tense moments like that. And I obviously, Pokken has those same type of tense moments and such. I feel like the game, just in general, competitive-wise, from my experience, again, as a Machamp player that tries to go up to the face all the time and stuff, the game, with my character anyway, there is that type of style where I go up against characters that have longer, better ranged attacks that favor that style that want to keep me out. So obviously I want to see more matches like that. And there's still a way, it's kind of very similar to the idea of Zangief fighting Ryu or Zangief fighting Ken in like Super Street Fighter 2 or Third Strike or something. There's those moments like, oh, okay, here's this tank character that has to get inside and actually deal some damage or whatnot, but he's zoning him out with all these long range attacks, these pokes, these zoning methods and stuff. And it's very cool.
I feel like one of the most important things about it that's cool is the fact that you can change the entire gameplay and the flow of a match with the assist Pokemon that you have.
Yes, definitely. It's more so than in Marvel. Because, obviously in Marvel vs. Capcom games, they have those assist characters you could just call in and they do whatever like that. Besides the ones that you could switch between and such. But with this one, I feel like not only it could change the actual momentum and the flow of it, but they're also omni-using between both phases, which totally changes things up sometimes.
Yep. Like I've seen people actually use that. One of the most popular characters is, one of the most popular assist sets is Cubone and Diglett. And they do that so that way they can apply pressure to their opponent in a field shift. They can keep them in defense. Like it's really just a good pressure move. You have with Chandelure, I like using Espeon. Espeon immediately heals my health and takes out all debuffs. You have Reshiram with Cresselia. Cresselia is a one-time battle charge, but you can heal up like crazy. So it's the only large health gainer in the game. I guess unless Espeon with low percentages does the same.
And synergy, and also boost up your synergy.
Oh, does
which
it?
Is like
I didn't know
super
that.
important.
So
Yeah, it does.
crazy.
It's super, super important in the game.
Reshiram holds you out, like completely just blows you back.
Yeah, and lowers your attack. And then the other one I like using too, and especially when we first got the game and such, I love using Fennekin because that's the one that I think gives you the most invincibility when you first throw it out.
Oh yeah,
there
are different assists you can do. You have disrupt assist, you have attack assist, you have support assist.
Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of options there, and again, they're omni-use between both field phase and dual phase. And I think arguably, depending on what character you're playing and what assist you choose, some are better in one phase over the other.
I think most of them are better in dual phase, but some of them are usable in both phases. One of my favorite ones is Latios. Latios, when you knock someone from field phase to dual phase, and when they're being knocked down on the ground, you pop Latios, and then you have Luster Purge closing in on your opponent. They have one way to go. They can't go backwards or they're hit by the Luster Purge. They have to go forward. They have to go towards you after they get up. So then I like using Latios with Braxton, and I just keep throwing projectile at projectile wall. And when you get hit by Luster Purge, they're juggled up in the air. I'm talking about they're bouncing between the pillars up in the air like 3 to 4 to 5 times. It's insane. And then after that, you can combo even more. And you just, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Some assists really just make some height. Some assists can just throw off an entire match. You got somebody going in with a combo, but then as you said, you can drop a disrupt assist like Umbreon or Fennekin, and you can push your opponent out and punish them for even getting that close. Or if it's Chandelure, you can just drop an overheat. But still, like yes, the game is hype when you're playing it. I love watching it. Yo, when I was at the event, this is a local event. Yeah. We have 17 people entered. We have everybody watching. I'm talking about even the Street Fighter heads are coming through, and they're popping after everything that's going on in the main event. And it's just like, it's insane.
That's a great sign. That's a great sign. Now the other thing I was going to ask too, to get your thoughts on, again, from having been in that environment like that, do you think that obviously in the future, maybe like Pokken Tournament, they'll be on that same level of like other fighting games? We'll start getting bigger pots. They'll start getting large crowds because they know Pokemon. Maybe they're not into actually playing Pokken as far as being competitive or playing it online, but they know Pokemon, they recognize stuff like this, and it starts to intrigue them and such. Do you think that we're going to start getting bigger crowds at more events for Pokken Tournament?
I think we're going to start getting a more fighting game community. Like, yes, we do have the Pokemon community coming through, but I mean, I can tell you this. From the people I know in the Pokemon community who are trying to get into this game because it's Pokemon, they haven't taken to it. They haven't taken to it well.
They don't like it.
I wouldn't say they don't like it, but they haven't been able to really capitalize on it. Like a lot of it is they don't understand. They're just like, oh, I can't figure out why my attack won't beat them out. I can't figure out my Pokemon or whatever like that, and they're getting frustrated. Yeah. So I think that even though it's Pokemon, yes, you're gonna be able to reach out to the Pokemon community, and they're gonna want to watch at least. But competitively, I feel like you're gonna have more of the diehards because the game is a departure from normal 2D fighters. I mean, more so than Smash. But I mean, it's still a great game. I think people are going to still enjoy watching it. They just gotta watch.
Yeah, that's true. Now, since you mentioned Pokemon fans and stuff like that, obviously tuning into something like this is kind of a little bit out of their element because they're obviously into RPGs. They're into other types and styles of game or whatnot that isn't necessarily fighting like that. It's not a competitive fighter in that type of genre and such. But, okay, do you think that they would still be intrigued and at least still go to events to even something like EVO to see something like this because it's Pokemon?
To see it? No, they'll just watch on Twitch.
Oh, they're just, okay, well, just to watch it, but would they tune in and actually be interested in actually seeing this type of like gameplay or seeing this type of game play out and evolve just because it's Pokemon?
Just because it's Pokemon? Probably not.
Probably not. You think that it's still gonna just stay more with the fighting game guys?
I mean, you're gonna have a lot of people who watch because they do like Pokken Tournament, like the game itself. But I want to believe that people aren't that easy to read, where, because it's Pokemon, they're going to flock to anything and all things Pokemon. Because I can tell you right now, I like Pokemon, but I have never once touched Pokemon Troze or Pokemon Shuffle for the mobile device. I'm like, no, I don't need it.
Ah, yeah, that's true. Or what about Pokemon Go? Pokemon Go's inbound.
Eh.
Well, you don't want to catch a Chandelure in real life on your mobile
I mean,
device.
I'm just not intrigued by stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I like it.
Hmm.
I love it, love it, love it. No, but I just like I'm very critical about a lot of things. I don't just flock to anything because of what it is. Like, I don't flock to the latest.
The latest Pokemon game
Oh,
that just
I was
does
gonna say the
Pokemon.
Mario. I don't flock to the latest Mario game because it's Mario. I don't flock to the
Yeah.
latest, anything really. I just kind of do my own thing.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that makes sense and whatnot. So, with that being said though, so obviously you keep saying before, Pokken has a bright future. Pokken has a bright future. Pokken has a lot of potential to grow and become something really special for a lot of the people that are really sticking with it and that are really kind of like getting behind this game, going to events, looking and actually urging places to actually host events for it and such. What do you think is the one thing, in your opinion anyway, that people that want Pokken to survive or want Pokken to really thrive as a game, as something that could really come up in a lot of these events or just be around constantly? What is it that you feel like everybody needs to do?
Well, we need to get money first and foremost.
that yeah.
But what is it? Even if you don't have money, like, you really need to just work together with your community. Like, start building people up, so, get names out there, let people know what you're doing, and just try to stay work together. Because I mean, I'm sure everyone has at least one system.
Mhm.
So work off of that. Get that one
Cool.
system and. Well, yeah, work off of that. Get that one system. Get someone else make a system. Find everything that you need, and just come together.
Nice. Just come together and just play. Just keep playing. That's, to me, that kind of reminds me a little bit of how Smash really kind of took off, because it was a lot of those people that really wanted to keep playing and take that game to the next level. That now we have huge, Twitch streams. We have huge communities, huge events for Smash Brothers.
Wait.
Like the same way how it kind of got started up, with Super Smash Bros. Because everybody, the initial impression of Smash Bros. That it was an actual was a party game.
Oh,
It
right.
wasn't
Within the community,
it wasn't an actual competitive
so
game and
hey, if
stuff
you
like that. But
turn
it had
items
support.
off and do 1-on-1 with 3 stocks 8 minutes, then you have or 4 stocks 8 minutes if you're melee.
Yeah.
You have this.
Yeah, exactly. But it was the players really getting behind it, really just playing constantly and just really kind of like spreading it around in order to make it into what it is now. Not just Melee and such, but like Melee, Brawl, Smash 4, etc.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the community. I think the game already has a lot of. I mean, shoot, Pokemon and Nintendo are endorsing it. They have a run up into Evo. They're being held at Evo, and they're holding an event at CEO. And Pokken Tournament is going to be at Pokemon Worlds.
Yep, I heard about that, which is going to be cool.
So I think that it is going to stick around, and that's the major thing. Like who is supporting it? Like, the major leader of a community is really going to say, what is it? I'm okay. The leadership in the community is really going to dictate how the community is going to grow. I mean, look at the Melee community. They started off small, but now you have the grandfather, the ambassador of the Smash community to anybody, and that's D1. Right now, you already have Game Freak backing it completely.
Nice, which is cool. And again, that's how it's going to thrive. Like, the more people that just get behind it and stick around and keep supporting it, the more it's going to be lingering around
Yep.
for everybody to check out. And it could be something special, yeah. So, final thoughts about Pokken Tournament. Any other final, thoughts or any sort of comments you want to make about the game, about the community, anything whatsoever?
The game is great. Fix the online rankings and more Shandy, please. Everyone embrace Chandelure.
More Shandy. You know what I want? I honestly want items to customize on your Pokemon that you play as. Like, kind of like in Tekken Tag 2, you could add like different personal items and such. Add it to your Pokemon. Make it much more personalized. What do you think? Do you think that?
You know what thing I wish they would have taken with?
What?
Now, the Masuda method in Pokemon, right? You like
Yeah.
one in 8,156 chance to get a shiny Pokemon.
Yes.
I wish that 1 out of 8,156 times when you're playing a game, your Pokemon comes up and it might be shiny.
Just randomly right before a match, it just turns shiny.
Yeah. Like, I'm using Chandelure. Suddenly, I have like red fire Chandelure. I'm like, wait, what? Yo, I got a shiny Chandelure. I mean, granted, it doesn't stay because it only lasts for the battle, but still.
I think more options, more aesthetic options would be cool. Just for in general. I think it would be fun. That's a very Bandai Namco thing to do with Tekken and stuff. Like now, especially in the later Tekken games, you could add like all these personal items you could just add and make them look totally different and unique. I think that could really work for Pokken.
I think so too.
I think it'd be dope. I think it'd be dope. But either way, that's gonna finish off this definitive discussion on Pokken Tournament. PK, thank you for coming on. Thank you, my dude.
No
it's always
cool.
It's always cool chatting up with you. Where can they find you?
You can find me on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/dathotness. That is DATHOTTNESS. Make sure you know my name is PKSparxx, PKSparkxx. No S's at the end, so make sure you know. Links will be in the description below. I understand the spelling is confusing, but the gameplay isn't. Make sure you come through for the pinnacle of Mario LPs, as well as coverage of other games, including Pokken Tournament, the upcoming Star Fox Zero, and anything that, if it's Nintendo, I most likely play it. So come through. Yeah. I hope to see y'all there. Hey,
definitely.
Oh, and Twitch there's gonna be PKSparxx.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say because they can find you on Twitch. That you're usually streaming on Twitch most of the time, right there. They get you up on Twitter. Now all the links to all of his stuff, guys, is gonna be in the description box below. You could just go immediately there, show him some love, hit him with a follow, leave him a comment on his videos, leave him a like, all that stuff. Send him a DigiHug. Send him over a Chandelure DigiHug. #hugs.
Yeah, wait, no, Shandy doesn't hug though. He just bodies you.
I know we're talking about giving you hugs, son. We're trying to give you some hugs. What's the matter with hugs?
There's no Machamp mains aren't welcome here. No, get out of here.
I wasn't talking about Machamp.
Machamp mains aren't welcome here. I said Machamps ain't welcome here. I said Machamp mains, get out of here. Your name is lame, and you're a Zangief wannabe. Let me stop.
Zangief wannabe. But either way, all the links to his stuff, guys, is in the description box below. Don't forget to leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the Gamers with Gains channel for all my videos related to gaming and all types of cool stuff. All the different definitive discussion videos that I've had so far, guys, they're going to be in a playlist for all of you, so you'll be able to watch all of them and see the different games that we talked about before on the show. We've talked about now Pokken Tournament. We've talked about Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. We talked about Street Fighter 5. A whole bunch of stuff is there for you guys, so be on the lookout for some more new ones in the very near future. I will talk to all of you guys again very soon. Peace out. Stay epic, everybody.
Bye.